Today we're going to be talking about the Roland SH101. You've heard it before, I know you have. We're going to talk a little bit about it and we're going to hear it in action. Check it out. Hello, I'm Roland. This is Alamo Music. We are alamomusic.com. Check us out on the website. Also check out the YouTube channel, Alamo Music Sound Lab. Be sure you subscribe because we have a lot of videos coming up pretty soon. Some great classic synthesizers, effects, gadgets, more to come. Check it out. Here is the Roland SH101 synthesizer. It's small in stature, but it's got a powerful tone. It's more known for its bass and lead department, but it can get some pretty twisted, wicked tones going on for effects and stuff like that. Pretty cool sequencer, pretty cool arpeggiator built in as well. I personally love the sequencer on it. This keyboard was unveiled right about 1982, and it went on through production to about 1986-ish, although you could probably find these in stores well after that. It wasn't a huge hit when it first came out. Matter of fact, Roland thought it was a huge failure. So I'm not sure why, because sonically this thing's pretty awesome, but at the time it came out, it didn't sell very well. The only thing I can guess is that the build quality is a little cheapish, right? It's got that whole trash can plastic thing going on. Plastic is actually kind of bendable in some areas. So all in all, not really Roland's best attempt at building a solid synthesizer. I think they're trying to cut the cost down a little bit and trying to unveil a synthesizer into more of a beginner or intermediate market. What's really good about the synthesizer is the engine itself. Aside from the plastic chassis and the overall small, toyish look to it, it's a powerhouse of a synthesizer. It's an awesome bass machine. It's an awesome lead machine. It's got a noise generator. It's got a sub-octave section that's really killer for bass lines. The envelope is really fast and it's really snappy, so basses are really kind of punchy on this keyboard. I love it. This keyboard, once again, didn't sell very well when it first came out, but for some reason in the 90s, this became a staple for house music. Mostly because you could probably find them really cheap in a music store, and it kind of hit after that. The sound quality that you would typically hear in the house music would be your typical bass line or a typical lead line, which again, it does cover extremely well. And of course, it went through the 90s in that kind of phase, in that kind of era. I don't know many other bands that really utilized it on the popular front, as opposed to, say, using a mini Moog or something like that for basses and leads. There is a resurgence, or there was a resurgence rather, of this particular keyboard and its sound back in the early 2000s. There was a band called, or there is a band called Boards of Canada. I'm sure you might have heard of them. Several albums, really kind of murky, deep, underwaterish type of tones. A really fantastic band that really took off and created a new genre. And the staple for their albums was this SH101. More so because, again, of the engine and the sound, but also the sequencer and the arpeggiator, which was very prominent in all their albums. After that, I started to see and hear the SH101 on a lot more songs and a lot more albums. So it's kind of had three lives, if you think about it. It did the 80s thing moderately well. It did the 90s thing and the house thing. And then it got into the whole ambient, kind of murky, underwaterish type of electro music, electronica music back in the early 2000s. So really it never left. It just kind of morphed into different genres and different hands and different players. It's still a very viable synthesizer for all kinds of music. I mean, I really couldn't see not using this on any music that had an electro sense to it. A very, very strong contender. And again, the price points are still fantastic on these keyboards. You know, you could still get these on the used market relatively cheap compared to, say, another bass machine like an MS-20 or an SH1, an SH2, or a mini Moog. So all in all, still a really cool keyboard at a great price point with a lot of really cool tones. So, speaking of the tones, why don't we just check it out in action? Once again, I'm Roland. This is Alma Music. I hope you really enjoyed this keyboard. I enjoyed talking about it, and I really enjoyed playing it for you. Check us out online at almamusic.com. Hop on the YouTube channel and subscribe. It's Alma Music Sound Lab. There's a lot of cool videos coming up, and some really, really cool stuff heading for the next couple weeks or so. So stay tuned. Check it out.